Are you serious? Half the time? You've been ranting this whole time with a 50% factual statistic?
Hey.
Joining us for our 27th episode of We Burn, We Rise. Today I'm joined by Hyperion and RX and special guest Spaz from the lab. We're happy to have you with us today for updates from all across the Phoenix Initiative before handing the baton over to us to talk about Phoenix. I think that's the same thing.
I also love how you introduced yourself as one of the hosts. It's on the sheet, I know.
I just have to give you some we know Spaz does this best. We get it. Yeah.
It's beautifully done. Bravo.
Oh, yeah. Woo. So Spaz is away, AFK from keyboard right now. That's double keyboard. So he's AFK right now. But we will be talking about things that are going on in Phoenix. Just kind of bringing stuff together again. We do this once in a while just to get some updates out there for people to see what Phoenix is up to, because we do have a lot going on. I'm sure a lot of you have seen there's a new dev bounty out there. That's live now, and first place gets 3,000 Phoenix. Last time we had CFG Ninja Team win first place. I believe that was 2,000 Phoenix, so we've upped the ante a little bit here. And we might see it go up a little bit more. You never know. So right now we got a 3,000 for first place. Second place gets 1,000. Third place gets 500. So we're looking for amazing developers to come on and give us your projects. Not give us. Keep them on our chain. We do have some really creative ideas out there already floating around. I'm sure you've seen marketplaces being talked about. We're waiting on a couple more things from them to see where they go. And yeah, so Dev Bounty is live. There's a whole 4,500 worth of Phoenix out there to be given to developers to build on our chain. And speaking of marketplaces, this week we have had an announcement, kind of almost finished, but I'm going to share my screen here. So something happened that's very interesting. We've been talking about it for a little bit on Zegex. So here, this is just your regular Zegex when you're looking at your assets. I have nothing because obviously this, oh wait, something just popped. There you go. I have 2 Phoenix available. Yay. And something unique is happening right over here. Look at that. So we have a couple. It's only for our chain currently. I'm sure he's got plans to expand in the future, but he is going to enable auction trading of NFTs on our chain. Right now it's all preview, so you can take a look at different things like going to Phoenix Drop. You can take a look at the website and different links there. You can see the ones that are available. You can like them. And he said a couple other functionalities will be enabled soon. I don't believe you can make offer just yet. No. So it's going to be auction-style bidding here on Zegex. Coming soon. You're asking if you have to use antivirus during using Zegex?
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm asking.
No, it could stay on. It's a third-party website. Shouldn't be blocked unless you have some kind of specific web browser blocking or something. It's just a regular exchange. Zegex is here. This is the main page. Go to markets. Just a regular exchange. There's no KYC currently. Carl was talking about implementing KYC in the future. We don't know where that's going to lead, if that's even happening currently on his agenda, but it's just a regular exchange. You shouldn't need, unless you're trying to do some kind of incognito trading, then you'll need a VPN. Yep. Okay. Well, put your questions in the chat and maybe we can answer that. But Zegex is just a regular platform, an exchange where you would send to your wallet here. So you have, if you unhide the zeros, here's the full list of coins they have. It goes for 150 different tokens that he's got. Phoenix being, a preferable one. But you would deposit and withdraw. So this is a custodian. So it's a CEX. It's a CEX. It's not a it's not a wallet, and it's not a decentralized exchange. So the funds do go here, and then you'd have to withdraw them back into your wallet whenever you're finished with doing whatever, if that makes sense. And then you would go to the pairing that you're trying to trade. So like Phoenix for USDC. There you go. Well, that volume went down. We had over 10,000 for 2 days straight. It was nuts. Mm-hmm. It was pretty crazy. So anyway, just to wrap up, we are being, oh, look, Rise of the Chronics right here. Since we're representing, But you can also like these. The make offer functions coming soon. And Carl said that there will be, Carl being the exchange owner and also the lead developer, he was saying that you can currently send your NFTs to your wallet address that you have here. So you can deposit them here, and it'll populate on the corner here. There'll be an NFT amount that you have. So you can deposit to this wallet, and it'll recognize that you have them. He is working on a deposit page for NFTs and a guide so that it helps with the flow for new users that might not understand. Because as you know, we have the airdrop bot where you get a random chance at an NFT. We have Duck Hunt, random chance at NFT. And we have the Fire Ducks, which you can purchase with Phoenix. We have Chronic Cats. That was, I believe it's still live to purchase maybe. I'm not sure. Yes, there's a website. So you'll be able to trade those NFTs here. Price Ducks, Phoenix drops. That's what it is. Okay. So for Zygex, if you don't already have an account, yes, this is a centralized exchange, meaning it's a place where you can trade tokens, and NFTs are coming soon here. But everything here is on Zygex. So this is an account that you have to create. Yes. The wallet address that you put in to get into your airdrop bot, that's your wallet for MetaMask. What you have to do is send from MetaMask to this exchange if you have any kind of assets that you wanted to trade on this exchange. Zygex has an NFT auction platform that's coming here. We have 3Pay that's working on a full marketplace. So that's going to be another fantastic thing. Watch the previous 2 episodes ago. Watch episode 25 for more information on that. And we should have a updated whitelist coming soon. Spaz has been coordinating that. We're in rough drafts on that, and it's going to be more of an expansive white paper. With that's going to come an updated website link. We're going to continue, rerouting the old one just for those that remember the old links. So there's still going to be a flow into this new website. So a little bit of a branding upgrade on that as well.
Trying to keep everything concise as we start taking these next steps. I know Rob's gearing up for some stuff. I mean, everyone is. I'm starting to see more development happen. I shared a little teaser of it in this chat, I think yesterday. But my brain would work today. Someone's working on a token scanning bot for Phoenix. I've also got a honeypot checker for Phoenix that's coming up. It's functional right now. I've just got to sort out a couple things so it's actually usable, but it is functional. So that's there. It'll go hand in hand with that bot that the person is building. But it'll report stuff. It'll report how much liquidity there is, buy and sell tax, all the stuff you see on the majority of token scanners. And then once that's done, the guy has also said he might end up doing a buy bot for Phoenix. So if you guys have seen Bobby or Bubble buy bot in random degen groups or even some bigger tokens, they'll have that in there. So stuff like that is coming. I just got lucky and found a guy who was interested in adding Phoenix. So we're getting there. And then I think I'll probably be pushing this FireSwap update probably in the next day or two, in all honesty. Like, it's pretty much in a good spot where I'm comfortable having it on the main build rather than the beta build that I've just been passing around. So I just got to go in and tweak some things. But all around, things are starting to look pretty solid. And then we've just got a couple more things in the background that we're waiting on paperwork or a couple extra hands to finish sorting out.
And then I saw also there was a screenshot of testnet being worked on continuously. So we do have the Explorer close for the testnet Explorer. Hopefully that means that, you know, one Phoenix will be so rare by then that we will need the testnet to be deployed on.
Yeah, so K-Blaze is almost done getting that testnet Explorer set up. I helped them get all the database connections and all of that sorted out yesterday. Something like that. We had to change a couple of things with one of our testnet nodes so it actually passes the correct data. Last I saw, it was syncing. For those that don't know, a full archive node basically takes all the data of every transaction on the network and stores that in a database. And doesn't prune, doesn't delete. It keeps all of that data there so it's accessible, meaning I want to go see a transaction from when testnet was first created. I can go back and see that rather than it just starting where the chain is at currently. But yeah, I think K-Blaze will be done with that in the next couple days. That was their goal, at least. So I'm excited about that. It's been a busy week.
Yeah, we have other things like we're working on with a couple exchanges. Nothing concrete just yet, but look for that hopefully in the next couple of weeks. We'd like to have the white paper updated, the website flowing the correct way before biting on anything fully, but we should have some updates coming up soon on that.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people have been wanting to see new listings and wondering when those listings are going to happen. And it's not that we didn't want to, it's just we needed to position ourselves a little bit better, both as a project and financially. We needed to be in a better spot to actually push for these things. But at the end of the day, once we start getting like even one or two new listings for Phoenix, I think it's going to drive some more interest because people see that on the front end, we're actually pushing the chain rather than building stuff for the chain. We are pushing it into new marketplaces. But I mean, the past little bit has been easier to get devs on board or at least get that interest built up again. So I'm glad about that because it's meant I've been able to take a little step back and sort some stuff out that I've been needing to. Like Fire Tools, that one I'm getting ready to get back to tweaking and making sure you don't get those weird Christmas tree charts because my server running the database goes down.
But it's almost
I
Christmas.
I almost don't want to fix it because I love seeing those charts of, oh yeah, database went down right there because you can see the chart goes up, left, up, down, and right. So we've got that. I'm trying to see if there's any other major things I can share.
So I posted the link to ZegX. Someone was asking about it. I will also include it in this video just so people are aware that it is happening on their exchange. And just again, they're a third party that we don't belong to ZegX. We are listed on ZegX. So maybe there was some confusion about that.
Let's see.
If you're looking for our DEX, that's fireswap.org.
Yes.
That's us.
And if
but that's all on-chain.
Yeah. And if you're looking for the latest version of FireSwap, go hop in the FireSwap Telegram channel. It's one of the last things I pinned in there. Oh, that's another thing I forgot to share. So alongside the contract scanner that this guy's getting ready to finish up, once I get a couple more things done. He is going to also be creating a new pairs channel for Phoenix. So if you're somebody that's constantly watching transactions on chain to see if like new tokens are popping up, liquidity is being added, that sort of stuff, there will be a channel at some point that'll show you every new launch that's happening on Phoenix. So that's another thing that'll help push interest in. This guy started building all of this stuff without even realizing we had a competition going on. I'm like, yeah, you're pretty decently in the running now.
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah, let me get this pulled up so I can show off. I mean, I didn't build this. I was sent the files for it, but it works. Where is share screen? Cool. Cool. So I've got a honeypot detector for Phoenix Network. This is just going to tell you quick info out of the gates on what it has. So here, I may have broken it.
Perfect.
I think I might have broken it trying to play around with it. But it does, like, it has been working up until literally just now. So I probably goofed a little something. But if you guys have used honeypot detector on BSC or ETH, I think their website's honeypot.is. It's basically the same exact thing. It's got some tweaks to it because we're a different network. And I am going to turn this into something that's more Phoenix vibes. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it is going to look more friendly, and it will be integrated with the Fire Tools suite. So the charting, you'll have the honeypot detector, token scanner, that sort of stuff eventually built in on there. And I do plan on opening advertisements on there once I get things sorted out, and it is a much more presentable interface.
So are you thinking of combining it with Fire Swap so it's all within some kind of, or is it Fire Tools or?
Yeah, so I'm going to keep the two separate only because of how they're built and what goes involved. I don't want Fire Swap to be connected to anything that has a database, just because that can present a security risk for Fire Swap itself. So the two are going to stay separately. The honeypot checker and token scanner, those are going to fall under the Fire Tools branch or tree, umbrella, whatever you want to call it. So all of that's going to be contained in this ecosystem, whereas FireSwap's going to remain its own entity, and it's just going to be the swap liquidity and eventually the farming whenever I can get around to sorting that out. So you'll have one end that's your toolkit, the other end that's your swap. That way you can see charts, check contracts, all of that good stuff in one spot rather than having to go to this Telegram bot and this Telegram bot and this Telegram bot to just get the full picture. Or you can use the bot that the guy is building to get all that information before you go ahead and grab some new tokens from a random contract.
Yeah, this will be very helpful, especially because we've seen in the past where, you know, this, if it's reporting bad here, you probably want to stay away from the community.
So, yeah. Let's see here. So, yeah, that kind of covers everything I've got going on right now. As always, more developers, please join in. Love to get a couple hands. And eventually, once we get funding rolling, obviously, we're going to end up hiring on more hands to dedicate time to all of these things that I've started, half finished, or mostly finished, and making sure that everything that we build gets the full attention it needs, because with one person doing all this stuff, like it's a hard task where I could work for 90 hours a week and still not scratch the surface of how much I need to get done. So we're getting there. I know there's a couple people in the community that are trying to learn and pick up the slack for us, which is something I highly recommend, just in general, like learning coding is a powerful thing, even if you don't think it fits what you do right now. I got my degree in music. Like,
I mean, that's a type of coding. That's right. That's like,
there was no programming or anything for what I was doing. I mean, like a lot of it was like writing music and being an engineer for music. So I guess it's a little more technical. But like going into development and coding, I knew absolutely nothing. I didn't know what I was looking. I'm like, this looks like English. I can probably make sense of this. It was Python, so Python is a human readable language. Same with like JavaScript, HTML, CSS. All of those are human readable languages. So yeah. Always recommend learning something new.
Not really. I tried Python. I was like, what language is this? This is
Python
not.
Can get a little confusing, but like Python basics are very easy to read. Like you can, like if I was to show you the airdrop bot and you were to read through the code for it, it would make a lot of sense because you're like, oh, it looks for this person, this data, checks to see if the result matches this, and then sends the transaction. So
Parentheses and parentheses, right? Yeah. Comma, don't misplace the count. God damn it.
Comma, or in JavaScript, but semicolon.
Yeah.
I've been working on a bot for, I don't know, the past 2 or 3 weeks for Gate.io futures for day job stuff with AutoView. And I got schooled a little bit by the guy, the lead dev, who's been training me a bit because like I know web dev JavaScript, but I'm not like I've always been more front end than back end. And I was like, yeah, I've got this hooked up and it should be working, but it's not passing along the entire thing I need passed along. And he goes in and he's like, type this, literally the word this, in that spot. And it works. I'm like, I've been struggling with this for like 8 hours and it was this is all I was missing. Okay.
Yeah, isn't that most of the time is you do it and you're like, it should work, but then you debug for hours and you're like, oh my God.
And it's literally just one thing. So like another example is I was trying to get this bot to, when it like creates an order, it checks a couple of things like your account balance, any open positions, all of this. Well, it wasn't returning open positions as like, this one's open, this one's open, this one's open. It was just combining all of them. And I think it was just like a comma or something that I was missing out of one of the things, or some weird tiny thing that I spent way too many hours trying to fix. And then I go and I'm like, that. And it works. Okay. So that's enough of my dev rant for today.
Yeah. Otherwise, is Carl still on Zegex? Tien, what are you asking? I don't. Or DuckDog. He's part of that, I thought. No?
Is Carl still on Zegex? Yeah, he's the. So what's happening with Zegex is Zegex is building the DKD exchange, I think is what I read. They're partners in some capacity. Zegex is going to remain Zegex because Carl has spent the past 1.5 years building that exchange and that brand. So Zegex will stay itself, but because it's, I think, technically under DKD as the parent company, it might be something like Zegex by DKD.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not asking because I don't remember, probably in July or August, the last time I logged in, took Zegex exchange account. But there were some rumors that Zegex tokens are going to be DocDo tokens change in September, but nothing happened yet. Perhaps any
so they did
basically about that.
So he did. You can't purchase Zegex tokens anymore.
Yeah,
it's now
I know.
Zegex. You can switch to DuckDo, and then at the very bottom when you log into Zegex, it says Zegex 2022, a product of DuckDo Global. So like RX was saying, I believe they're building a separate
As I understood months ago, Carl or someone from the team said that the swap should be automatic.
Yeah, I don't know about that one, in all honesty. I had to manually swap my ZX for DKD. So I don't think they did a automatic swap. I don't remember reading that, so I could have been wrong. It could have been a certain threshold or something. But yeah, you can swap DKD for ZX. I didn't know
so if you type
RYI
in,
got listed.
oh yeah, I've had them in there. RYIU.
Yeah.
The B as B and B version. Yeah, because I think they have like 3 tokens. But yeah, if you type in DKD, this will come up. If you type in, I don't think ZX gives you anything. Oh, it does. Okay, but that's the only pairing that you can do for if you have any ZX tokens.
But as far as like other stuff with ZX goes, like ZX is going to remain as it is, and Carl is going to continuously push new updates and stuff for it. Obviously, we're not part of them, so we don't know what exactly they're going to end up doing. But I know once they finalize some documents or something, I read this like months ago, so memory's a little fuzzy on the majority of it. But they'll be doing KYC once like the legal end is all sorted out, something along the lines of that. So what was said to be happening in September did get pushed back. I don't know how much time it got pushed back. So like KYC, we don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm sure there will be an announcement. Any major changes, Carl or one of his mods or community members will announce like any of the major changes that are systemic for ZX. Like they'll announce when that stuff's happening, but as it is right now, it looks like they're just continually pushing and just growing the ZX brand.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they'll delay the KYC a little bit longer anyway. If he's building out Docto, whatever that other one. If he's building out DKD, if he's building that exchange out, I feel like that will be the KYC first, and then this will be more of a non-KYC for a while.
Yeah, that's kind of what I think will happen. I mean, it's been cool to watch the user growth, like since we got listed in January. Like I remember when there were like 5 people max on ZX, and now signing in and seeing where are we at
270,
right
250, yeah. 270. Yeah.
250, 270 online at a time. I'm like, that's impressive.
Yep, for sure. And then their chat keeps growing as well. And he keeps listing tokens. That's great.
Yeah. I'm ready for them to be on CMC, CG, all of that. Because that's part of the reason we're pushing for more listings right now, as we know, like Resfinex, they've kind of started sunsetting a lot of their services from what I was seeing. Because like I saw them delist a whole bunch of tokens a couple weeks ago. So we're just trying to get on more so that way our coin has more reputation. Because when you're listed on more exchanges, it looks better in the eyes of the average consumer, the big investors, anyone that actually wants to put time or money into a project. Having more listings looks good, so we're biting the bullet on a couple of them.
I forgot to say, keep in mind that the Q&A will be recorded, so we appreciate the community's adherence to keeping the discussion profanity-free. Sorry, Spaz. Completely backwards. Yeah, he's in the lab anyway. Whatever. We'll do the outro later as soon as we're wrapped up. Yeah. Yeah, I thought you were trolling me, Tien. I guess. All right. I don't know.
I'm just typing CMC.
You're telling CMC to get ZegX up there?
Yeah. to check about data about the market cap because CoinGecko is showing me over $400,000. XEGX is showing if you click liquidity pools, $232K dollars. Is that liquidity or
That's
anything?
market cap.
That's market cap. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Unless a magic person came in and put 200K in liquidity, which I don't. Fluffy, what are you doing out there?
Yeah, no. That's the 232 and the 400, whatever the actual number is. That's the market cap.
I believe Fluffy is getting ready for a new job since Red Bull CEO passed away.
Yeah, there you go. He's going to be the new Red Bull CEO. Oh, Lord. Hey, that's one way to get Phoenix in there.
In 2 years, Red Bull is going to collapse.
They won't have any product left to sell.
Exactly.
Oh, I see what the problem is. Okay, so ZegX is trading at an average of about 5 cents a Phoenix. On CoinGecko, they only report ResPhoenix, which is trading at an average of 9 cents a Phoenix. So that's why your market cap there is 400,000 and ZegX is showing 232 because it's a discrepancy in price. Because the exchange ZegX is tracking its own price for that coin as they change the market cap. They don't take the market cap from CG or CMC. They have their own, is what I'm trying to say. So you can get Phoenix cheap on ZegX, is what I'm also saying.
Just starting to realize about those incorrect data around. Incorrect, but different.
Yeah, so something like that would get closer to each other as soon as ZegX was listed on CoinGecko, because then it would take the market cap of both those prices and aggregate in the middle somewhere instead of only reflecting ResPhoenix. Because ResPhoenix is the one that's supported by CoinGecko currently, and if we get any more that are CoinGecko and CMC supported, then you'll see an aggregate between those two for the reported market cap. Since we don't have ZegX on CG or CMC, they have their own market cap listed. I'm sure that'll change as soon as we get them on there. Soon, TM. This is something that will just automatically fix itself the more exchanges we have that are tracked on CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap. It's kind of out of our hands, unfortunately, because CoinMarketLeague draws from a price of 0.087, but CoinMarketCap is showing 0.089. And then CoinGecko is showing 0.091, and then ZegX is showing 0.056. So you see there's discrepancy because if you're only battling between ResPhoenix and ZegX, that's not a lot to go off of. And FireSwap, I guess, would have its own data once that would be tracked as well. So that'd be another one, right?
Yeah, and I think where we're at with that is we've just got to get the go-ahead for Gecko board, which I think that's something Rob is going to push.
I missed the chat about FireSwap. Can I ask a small thing? Will there be charts available on the FireSwap?
So there won't be charts available on FireSwap directly for now. Mainly because I just don't have the time, and I would rather, personally, for me, I would rather third parties control the kind of swap and a lot of the other utility. I don't want that to solely fall on us. So like FireTools.finance is the charting system that I got set up as a temporary thing till we get these bigger names to list FireSwap and any other DEX that pops up on Phoenix. So there is charting. It's not the best because I personally don't have the money to pay TradingView for a license for their charting system. So it's this light charting system that basically is a very low key chart. So there's not a lot to it. And it's something that's honestly a pain to maintain when I have all these other things going on. So there are charts. It's not something I plan on integrating with FireSwap at this time, because I am going to build out Fire tools as kind of a suite of different things with a token scanner, honeypot check, and then your charting as well. I mean, I could always fork like Pancake Swap, but that's a lot of time.
Fork Pancake Swap. No, leave it be. You've got a nice product.
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy with where FireSwap is at. There's more I want to do with it, but it just comes down to time. So once we get pushing, I'm gonna make the time for that. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll start reaching out or taking whatever steps we need to take to get listed on Gecko Terminal. Because I know Dex Screener gave us a list of requirements to meet before they'll list us. And a lot of that just comes down to total value locked, daily volume, and daily transactions, which we're starting to get closer to, but we just don't have enough on-chain volume right now to actually follow through with a lot of them, because a lot of them will see, like, I think there was like a 4-day break from all trading. Like, I didn't see any new trades happen on chain for about 3 or 4 days. So that's something that they see and go, there's not a lot of reason for us to list this, because if they're running off ad revenue, like, they would balance out time for integrating a chain and revenue they can make from adding that chain, whether it's new users or whatever. And at this point right now, it's just not worth it for a lot of them too, because we are so new and aren't overhyped like some of these chains have been, like Red Light Chain. Trying to see, there's a couple that have popped up in the past couple months that are listed on some of these, but if you look at like their total volume for anything that isn't like USDT, USDC, or whatever the chain's coin is or token, like, a lot of them just have like no volume. They've got liquidity, but they haven't moved much at all for weeks or months. So just trying to get us in a good position where, let me see here, I'm looking at a chart right now for Red Light Chain, and I'll throw up a little screenshot in here. And this is something that would happen from market making. If I can find Telegram again. So if you look at something like that, that's all the activity that chain is having, and it's all automated market making, bots trading against each other to keep volume up to stay eligible. And I would hate for us to be
stuck in that. Yeah.
Stuck in this cycle of, like, you can see they're trading within a range for, like, even if I go to like the day, the chart's just up, down in the same exact range. Like, it is a straight block of candles. And that's not what we want. Like, we want this genuine growth. We don't want initial hype of some of these chains where they skyrocket and everyone and their mother is moving their assets to this chain to play with the degen tokens that are on there. Like, that's not what we want. We want something that people are wanting to build on, that are wanting to grow with. And so it's a slower process at the end of the day, because we could go out, we could figure out a way to churn up funds to get the top like 15 BSC callers or ETH callers to promote us for a couple days or whatever. And at the end of the day, it's going to put us in a worse position than anything else, because we're going to see a giant influx of people that are excited to trade, see how cheap it is to trade, see how fast it can be. And then once the hype dies down, there's going to be a lot of people that are just sitting here like, this was a waste of my time. And that's what happened initially with Doge Chain, happened with Red Light, happened with Milkomeda, which is a Cardano sidechain that's an EVM. It's now basically a dead network. So if things are moving slow, it's kind of a good thing for us because that means we're doing it in a way that isn't going to allow all the work we've put in to implode on itself, because if our work implodes on itself, we did something wrong. And if we implode, then over a year's worth of work just becomes wasted at that point because we wanted some quick price action or we wanted a quick increase in users. Yeah, exactly. Rome wasn't built in a day. And a lot of these new degen coins or tokens that are popping up that are saying, oh, we're going to build a chain and do this. A lot of them end up failing because it's a oversaturated market with chains where the people that are popping them up using a token on BSC to fund it, like they end up dying out within a couple of weeks at best. I saw one 2 or 3 weeks ago where they had documentation, they had all of this, what their plans for the chain were, and then fast forward 2 weeks or a week, whatever it was, nothing's being done with it because there was no interest, and they will fail of people losing and funding their investments. And that's exactly the thing is, like, if you guys have paid attention to the charts, we've been holding within the same range for quite some time. Like, yeah, we've had a couple days or weeks where we jump up to 15, 20, 30 cents for a handful of days. And then we move back down to the 3 to 5 cent range. I'm okay with this because at the end of the day, as long as we're holding a certain range, that's where our support is. And while we're building, as long as we keep in that support range, I think everyone would be happy because they're not necessarily losing on Phoenix they may be purchasing. You're not winning yet, but you're not losing. And that's the important part, is not losing. It doesn't matter if you make $100,000 if you lose 98,000 the next day. So
yeah. And is that $100,000 worth? The $100,000 is worth at that moment. If you sell all of it, it might actually go down to being worth $5,000 at the end of the day if you're trying to play down and there's not enough liquidity. So
yeah. So again, I know like some people are probably frustrated that things move slow with us, and it's not intentional that things are moving slow. Like if I could, I'd snap my fingers, we'd have like a team of like 30 devs just come in and start building stuff day and night. If I had my choice, that's what we'd be doing. But because we're in a spot where it's us on the team that are building, pushing, promoting, and there's not really anyone else that's doing a whole lot outside of our partners that'll give us the occasional tweet, mention, whatever you have. Like it's a slow growth. Go ahead.
Robin, can I ask you something? How old are you?
23.
Same again. Come again.
23. 23.
23. In 10 years, where do you see your life?
Where do I see
about digital? I mean, about digital acceptance.
Where do I see what?
Okay, Fluffy. About in 10 years, where do you see digital acceptance? I mean, fiat less, coins, and crypto more.
I genuinely think we're going to end up moving more towards crypto. I mean, I may be young, but I've been paying attention to mentality in economics as well as crypto itself over the past, I guess, 10 years now. 9 years. I got in Doge. I got in like a lot of these coins that are now extremely popular very early when they first launched, and gauging the market from what it looked like then to what it looks like now, we're following a similar trend to the adoption of modern technology, modern computing. It's those first 10, 12 years, they are the slow growth. People are building, figuring out what works, what doesn't. And if we look at countries that are adopting crypto as a valid asset, as well as countries that are working on creating their own digital assets, Like, I think crypto as a concept is here to stay. Are any of the coins that we see now going to be here in 10 years? Your guess is as good as mine. Bitcoin could go to zero. ETH could go to zero. They could both go to a million plus. It's just, it all depends on what the mass decides is the right choice for their financials. I mean, when you look at any modern banking systems, I mean, I don't know the last time I pulled out cash. Hell, I don't even know the last time I had cash on hand. And all of my money's already digital. So taking one step further to transfer my bank account to something that lives on a blockchain, like, for me, I see that as a logical succession to finance. This is the next step. We went from gold, silver, coins, whatever you have, I don't know, a couple hundred years ago before we had modern paper or plastic money. We go from that to checks. And then, or we go from metal to paper and plastic bills to checks that are now things that you can use as legal tender for payment for large transactions, to credit, to debit. And now we're here at crypto, which has multiple purposes behind it. So I don't think crypto is going to go away. I don't know if it will fully overtake the dollar system for any country as it is right now, but I think in 10 years it stands a chance. And I think logically that's the next step, as we move all assets to digital, because at the end of the day, even if the world implodes, internet's cut off, as long as there is one node for any of these chains running, that data's still there and still being updated. Even if the world was to explode, there's no nodes left, as long as there's a historical backup of some of that, your money's still valid. In some capacity, you may not be able to send it or transfer it, but the same can be said with national banks. I mean, if the value of a currency goes to zero, everyone's SOL, regardless. It's just a different format of what we are looking at the future as.
So that sparked a whole mess of stuff that happened in chat. I did want to say when Atlantis crystals for data. Just in, UK votes in favor of recognizing Bitcoin and crypto as regulated financial instruments. Watch your guru. Thank you, bud. And then, of course, we saw earlier, what was it, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Dominican Republic takes Tron Network as their standard. And a couple days ago, Hong Kong presents digital currency prototype, Project Aurum, whatever that is. But it looks like they're CBDCs, whatever they're, yeah.
But also, I've been hearing about Sweden, or especially not just Sweden, perhaps whole northern states, means Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland, are aiming to go cashless society. What I wrote there, that tycoon, part 3, that's already in China, in some areas of China, for a few years. No cash available, only hash codes. You take your smartphone, you go to the market, even if you are just buying carrots, no money, just that code, little what's it called? Can't remember what's QR.
Right.
Yes, just QR codes, no cash, no credit card, no bank, nothing, just QR.
Yeah, and I honestly like that we're going that way, because I was in retail for 4 or 5 years and did a lot of electronic stuff, and I hated dealing with cash. I hated when somebody was walking in and paying for this. Even if it was $20, I still hated taking cash, because it's just one of those things where I would say arguably it's easy to steal cash. No matter how you look at it, steal somebody's wallet, you pull out their cash, you walk away, it's not traceable. Take cash out of a register, and if there's not cameras, congrats, you just got free money out of stuff like that. Whereas with blockchain or a digital ledger, regardless of what that ledger looks like, you can trace. Even if you can't trace to who exactly, maybe you're tracing it to an exchange. And at a certain point, I would imagine with specific regulations and anti-fraud, anti-theft, whatever you have, exchanges will probably be a little more open to sharing data on their customers with federal entities, regardless of the country. Because if they can say, yeah, since we moved to this currency, we've actually seen 60% less theft across all forms of monetary or anything that carries a monetary property to it. So I think that could be something cool that comes out of it. But at the end of the day, like it's a better system. It is a better financial system because it cuts out a lot of middlemen. It put a lot of companies out of business if we went to only crypto, because a lot of the like card processing companies, they take a decent fee for every transaction that happens. I used to work for this coffee shop when I was in high school, and I remember when we were going from cash and checks to debit cards and credit cards, like it was a serious conversation to figure out what the best fee was. Like I remember at 16 or 17 talking with a handful of different companies. They're like, oh, we offer this percentage, and this machine. We offer this, this, and this. And it wasn't like, we don't care about the machine. We care about the money that's coming in our pockets. And some of these guys will charge like 10 cents plus 2-point-something% per transaction. And when you're a business, that stuff can add up really fast because that's a 2% hit you take from the processing of a payment out of the gates, not to mention tax, whatever else. So yeah, I'm hopeful that the future will be cryptocurrency. I'm really hopeful, even if it's not as we know it right now. I think the technology behind crypto, NFTs, which I'm not bullish on NFTs as they are as PFPs and that stuff. I'm bullish on the ownership side of it, where you have a digitally verified identifier that says, hey, I own this. Don't have to show anybody a key, but you can show, hey, I'm the only person that owns this specific thing. You can track the ownership records, so that way there's no confusion of, let's say you get pulled over because you're driving your car that somehow got marked as stolen, and you have this title, but they can't really verify that it is your title to the car because one piece of detail is wrong. With blockchain, it's just, oh, we see title was transferred from this person to this. This is your address. So yeah, you do legally own this car.
Since you brought up the fees, Robin, okay, if I go to the gas station, I can pay, I don't know, €100 or $100 that is now in Bitcoin, or buy Bitcoin for $100. The fee is 7%. There we have a paying solution in Slovenia, Go Crypto called, which is accepted everywhere. Basically, crypto is everywhere except in banks, in restaurants, hairdressers. I know if you go to a concert, if you hire someone to run your lights like Fluffy or something, you can pay everything in crypto. Only you can't use it in banks. But as I said, those things run, I don't know, in gas station is 7% fee. In Go Crypto is around 3 or 3.5. But I found out half a year or a bit more Scandinavian thing. I think the most team is Scandinavian based on Tron Network, which have less than 1% fee, just money is called. Perhaps some of you know it. It's available on multi-network.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't heard of it before, but a 1% fee, like that's not bad. Like obviously you'd want to get lower, but because we're still in an adoption phase, like 1% fee to accept payments in crypto, I mean that sounds golden to me, because you detach yourself from vulnerable entities along the way. Because I mean, banks can be hacked, financials can be hacked and transferred. It's a hell of a lot easier to hack a bank account than it is a crypto wallet at the end of the day. So being able to detach, like even paying I wouldn't want to pay a 7% fee, that's for sure. Like that's way too high. Even 3%, way too high. If we can get down to like the 0.1 range, I think that's where we'll start seeing a lot more heavy adoption, because if you can pay for something and it costs less than the processing fee that the normal card machine is charging, that's the one you're going to go for. But you also have the issue of crypto taxes in a lot of countries, like capital gains tax, and we're so early that a lot of this is just so convoluted and messy to work through. Like for me, as an example, it's cheaper for me to get paid in crypto and take the capital gains tax than it is to take a regular paycheck.
No, I was more talking about just one transaction fee, not capital gains and such, because some countries have extremely large. Some have zero. For instance, thanks to God, Slovenia is still having zero. When it go up, I'll just smooth as a shells or something. But transactions, I mean, how could people, like, I don't know, projects like Just Money to involve to other communities, I don't know, or add other projects on, like Phoenix?
You're saying how? Can you repeat the question?
Yeah.
I know, paying, because Phoenix transactions are extremely low, and fast and accurate. How to achieve to get products paid by Phoenix Network?
So realistically, there's a lot of steps that you would have to take for something like that. One, you need a exchange or set of exchanges that are well known and trusted to be able to swap the assets. Obviously, if there's some Fortune 500 company that's like, oh, Phoenix would actually be a good option for us as payment processing, like they could do that, but they'd be relying on ZegX, which is a relatively unknown exchange, to actually cash out their funds. So they'd have to look at something over the counter, which right now doesn't exist for Phoenix. So realistically, a large influx of stable coins on Phoenix would be option A, where they can get their USDT, USDC, or whatever other form of USD, CAD, any other currency they want. It really, like, there's not really anything stopping somebody from using us other than there's just not enough on our chain to support if somebody wanted to do it. I mean, I could start a business tomorrow, only accept Phoenix's payment for those services, but I, as the business owner, would not have a way of realizing that profit from those services past a certain point because of the price of Phoenix and because of the lack of stable coins or whatever else is on chain or on the exchanges that it's available on. So like you see, I'm trying to think of a good one, Stellar Lumens. That's one that's used for some payment processing for some small businesses. Like they've got a really cool starter kit for new businesses, and they're able to do that because they have an easy way of converting lumens to a stable coin or a realized dollar asset because they're on these big exchanges that accept OTC orders where you don't have to dump $2 million worth of a token directly onto the exchange. Somebody will just buy that from you without it touching the exchange books. So all that it falls down to is those institutional level investors and businesses taking interest in Phoenix as a whole. That's what's stopping it right now.
And we aren't touted as a payment platform just by itself, like some of these other things are. So I would gather that we could be used as a payment form, but I think our targets are more for broader use cases, like artists, musicians, if you wanted to also use the function of Phoenix's tipping, our goal is to always have low gas fee no matter what. So we will always reevaluate to keep it very, very cheap for transactions. If people are looking for pay transactions, for instance, kind of thing.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, if we have to switch to proof of stake to stick by what we want, we'll do it. Like, I personally don't want to overhaul Phoenix again, because getting us to the happenings and all that was a pain in the ass, just to be blunt. Like, whew, I can't tell you how many times I did things. I'm like, nope, that didn't work.
And that's only with 300 some nodes. We expect by that time it might be 2,000 nodes that you have to overhaul. Oh my.
Yeah, well, and at that time, it wouldn't be something we as a team are maintaining actively. It would be, hey, node holders, we just pushed this new update through based on this governance proposal, whatever ends up getting us to that update. It would just be, hey, you need to make sure that this is upgraded by this time, because the RPC nodes, they will be moving over on this time exactly, or this is when the chain forks. So similar to like block 2 million, or how Ethereum did block height for their fork to POS. So at the end of the day, like, we won't have a heavy hand on the nodes for forever. Like, it's just not something that is sustainable. In the meantime, though, while we are small enough, that is something we do to keep things moving.
We've got a question here from Abdullah. Do you think the current nodes counter is able to handle the next level for Phoenix when marketing gets placed?
Yes. To put it bluntly, we could drop down to 10 nodes and our network would still be fine with a mass influx. It's primarily because we are still low difficulty. Like, if I was to make it possible for GPU mining, and I grabbed a 3080, 4080 graphics card, I would be outpacing pretty much every other node on the network by a significant chunk, just off of how much raw power. For the nodes right now, we keep them all low power, one, to make it fair, but two, to make sure that we don't increase the difficulty of our network unnecessarily. Because it doesn't make sense for us to have a whole bunch of nodes on the network that aren't actually doing anything other than mining. You're going to leave me in the dust. Yeah,
So Fluffy, he's already volunteering his 3090 for if we need it.
He's so cool.
Oh man, that's a beast of a card. That is a beast.
No, but at the end of the day, like, it's pointless for us to increase the network difficulty just to give everyone a couple extra Phoenix, because at the end of the day, that hurts us long term. I mean, realistically, we would operate fine off 5 nodes, 10 nodes, 15 nodes. We don't need 300 nodes for the network itself. But with IPFS and all the other things that we're doing to make those nodes more worthwhile, that's why we have so many, because we have this data cluster of 300 nodes that all have a minimum 2 terabytes each on their server. So you're looking at about, I think we're over a petabyte worth of storage available for the IPFS solution. And that's phenomenal, because that means with FireC and any other NFT utilities or just long-term storage for data, that's something that people will be able to use and that node holders will be a part of. So,
yeah, absolutely. And again,
I know a lot of my answers have been long-winded today, and I kind of feel bad for it because each one's been like a mini rant, but I'd rather explain things and it actually makes sense than be like, oh yeah, no, we don't need this many. I hate being the guy that's just like, no, I want to be no, and this is why. Because we get a lot of questions every day about everything on chain. Some things have to be repeated. So if it means I have to repeat myself one less time, it's worth the rant. Plus, if people are learning, I'm doing my job. Like, that's, at the end of the day, all I care about is people learning, growing, and I like teaching people. Now, half the time, I don't know what I'm talking about, so I'm not the best teacher.
Wait, are you serious? Half the time? You've been ranting this whole time with a 50%? Factual statistic.
Hey. If I'm ranting, I know what I'm talking about. If I'm not ranting, I maybe know what I'm talking about.
All right, and that's Phoenix blockchain. 50%. It's a lie. For anyone joining in, please like and subscribe to this channel. You're going to watch this, like and subscribe, please. And I am waiting for more We Cook, We Burn episodes. Martin is running out of ideas. I need other people. I've gotten one community member so far, maybe a couple more. I know, Tien, you're a cook. I'm waiting. Please be clothed.
We are cooking. Might take some time, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, but with persistence and legitimacy and development, hey, the future is gold.
Well, thank you. Yes, that's why we continue to build. That's why we look for valued partners, and we reach out to communities. We have an airdrop bot in many communities, and that's one way of our free advertising that's happening. But we will ramp it up as soon as we have some things finalized. We're not ready there. We don't want to pump and dump. RX has said that in the beginning of this episode. That was the 50% true part, by the way. Kidding.
I mean, everything I said was objectively truthful. It's just some things like I'll say things and I'm like, I think this is right.
Fluffy, what is happening? The CEO has shaken his head.
No, he's looking forever, right? He's hashed it. Okay, Robin. Hyperion, you probably know it. Robin, have you ever read the comics Alan Ford? Seriously suggested.
I have not. I'm also like I never got huge into comics when I was a kid. I also have the worst attention span out of anyone on the team, probably.
Your generation, you're a bit older, especially.
Are you talking about Watchmen? I don't think I've never read that. I'm more into Chainsaw Man right here. That's my more recent delving into anime manga. I did read a bunch. Well, I was on the comic book trend originally with Green Lantern. I love that. Jeff Johns, he did an amazing job redoing Green Lantern series. Highly recommend a lot of sci-fi books. I can't stop reading those. Those are.
See, I've got to get into Audible because
Hoopla. Don't even bother. It's free. Hoopla, if you have a library card, it just attaches to your library, and then you can get free audiobooks there.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. No pay. That's what I use all the time.
I've got to do one of those regardless because, I can't read. I've got, just as an example, I've had this thick JavaScript book for 2 years now, and I don't think I've read past 10 or 15 pages in it. I still have it here because I can reference it quickly for certain things if I'm this isn't giving me the result I need. I don't have the mental focus to read, which kind of works out being a developer because it's I want to work on this. No, I want to work on this. How about this? And at the end of the day, stuff gets done. But my wife has been building a list of books for me to read for probably 4 years that I just haven't read because I'm I'll start reading. I'm all right, I'm bored. What's next? 4 pages in. Podcasts, though, I can pay attention to.
Yeah, I tend to drift into audiobooks just because I travel a lot for my job. So whenever I'm driving, it's audiobooks for an hour back, But yeah, reading has kind of gone by the wayside. It's hard to sit down and be, unoccupied by other things. You're just reading. I think it's a dying art. Good for people that can still do it. I wish I could, but audiobooks all the time.
Yeah, my wife, she has turned her office into a small library, and she can read, I want to say 150 pages, dense pages, not college level, but university, readings, EDU stuff. She can read like 150 pages of that in an hour. So like when she gets a new book, I'm like, oh, you're gonna be reading the rest of the night? And look at the book. I'm like, no, you're gonna be reading for 2 hours. That would take me like 3 days to work through at the very least. And I just don't get it because I'm like, all right, you got that book yesterday. You started reading it 2 hours ago, and you're already on to the third book. Okay, that's fine.
Impressive. I think it's a dying art. I think, yeah. I think we have too many distractions happening at all times, and everything's so connected that it's hard to just have that time where you can zone into a book.
Yeah. Well, and for me, it's like even though I'm not reading books, I do read a lot every day. It's just not in book format. Because, like, I'll read through developer docs, like API integrations and stuff. And, like, I do a lot of high-level reading, just not out of a book because I can't focus on a book. Picture books, though, I can get behind. Do love me some manga.
Absolutely. And Fluffy said he can read coloring books.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I've coded with Fluffy. Hey, go read the docs.
Any other questions? I might just wrap this up real quick.
Yeah, I think I'm all done ranting. I got to get some work done.
Yep, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We will all see you next week for episode 28 of our weekly broadcast. Wishing every member of the family a fantastic week. We'll see you in chat.
Have a good one.
Later.